ready.
응답하라 여친.
Go to the into the 실.
Back to the 경 to the Jew.
We got it down.
We are pros now.
Yes.
I feel it. So you said we have a question, which we love, by the way, y'all. Please write to us. We would love to answer your questions, explore what you got on your mind.
And you can DM us.
Yes,
or
DM
us. On Instagram.
Slide
or you
into
can,
my DMs.
Yes. We can do email, reply@replyYC.com. Okay, so Sarah Sarong444 on Instagram said, can you do a show maybe about how you discipline your kids? How were you disciplined growing up as well?
Oh.
And that was loaded. I think that's what I did when I saw the DM.
You did.
Like,
yeah. Oh, where do we start?
I don't. Do you want to start?
Well, sure. I was disciplined in all the wrong ways. And I hate to say that because it seems like such a diss, but as someone that's cut off from my parents, I do not see them. And I plan on not seeing them ever, which is really tragic to say, but it is because of my upbringing, and the discipline was mental, physical abuse. So all the wrong ways, and I don't blame them. I don't hate them. I don't. I mean, I forgive them. They also were raised that way, so it's like generational, right? And I broke. The only way I could break that was to sadly cut off with them. But it's not a great feeling. I think white people, when they talk to me about stuff like this, they're like, oh, that's so empowering. It doesn't feel empowering. You feel untethered.
Yeah.
And so I don't obviously want that for my kids. And that's why I had to break ties with them, because they were exhibiting things around my children.
Oh, like as in trying to discipline your children?
Yeah, and I so one of the pivotal things that actually they didn't even know my other one. They don't know my second child, but when I had my first, I think he was around 4. This made such an impression on me. My stepmom was mad at me she's always mad at me, right? I did something wrong in her book. Like I didn't come on time to something at some point, and she was holding a grudge. So that's the thing. She holds grudges. And we showed up to her house. I think then it was like Valentine's Day. It's not even a thing that you celebrate, really.
No, it's not.
Yeah, but
what Korean celebrates Valentine's Day?
I wanted to make her, feel special. So I think I brought Gavin with me, and he brought her a bouquet of flowers. And he's like 4.
Yeah.
So we walk in, and she was like, "What's that?" So cold. And my 4-year-old child immediately knew that she wasn't being welcoming. And he usually goes up to her and hugs her like 할머니, right? And he was just like, because she was like, 너 왔어? 네 엄마 꼴보기 싫어서. Like, I don't even want to see your mom right now. Like, she's telling this to my 4-year-old.
My jaw is on the floor.
네 엄마 꼴보기 싫어. 근데 왔구나. Like, so
flippant.
Yeah, so flippant. Like, oh, you came here? I don't even want to see your mom right now. To a 4-year-old child. And I thought, seeing my 4-year-old child visibly, he didn't know what was going on, but could clearly feel it.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is not okay.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So that was, I don't understand. I don't understand people that can be, strangers be rude to, but your own grandmother,
It takes a level of maturity for sure.
Yeah.
And I think discipline assumes that there is a level of maturity. Yeah. And a distinction between the grown-up and the child that you're disciplining. This was mind-blowing to me. I don't know how old I was when I realize that the definition of discipline is not scold or to 혼내.
Oh,
혼내 is, Korean
Yeah,
word
yeah.
for scolding or
Yeah,
getting upset.
yeah.
But it is to teach.
Wow.
And that was like, what? Because my
Wow.
association,
You mean when you look up the word discipline, it says to teach?
to teach.
The fact that I didn't even
Let's look it up right now.
my brain didn't go there.
Because you immediately go to how was I disciplined? And then
Yeah,
now as a parent, how do I discipline?
Right, because I was thinking when we think how do we discipline our children? I thought punitive. How do we?
So, right, punitive.
Yeah.
And so the definition is practice of training people to obey rules or a code of behavior. Oh, I guess that is right. Using punishment to correct
Yeah,
disobedience. And then the noun is to train.
but it's rooted in the idea that you're
Yeah.
supposed to teach them.
A synonym
but
would
we've
be
got-
to teach,
Yeah.
right? And then when you think of discipline as a noun, it's they say a branch of knowledge, typically one studied in higher education.
Right.
So
because people say I'm disciplined in this practice.
sure, right.
Right.
And growing up, I think there was a lot of I grew up with being disciplined.
Yeah.
But it was often in the form of punishment or things taken away, right?
Which is, I think, very common.
Physical for sure. That's just, the memme spanking.
So, I grew up in Korea, right? Till I was about 8. And even in school, I was the kid that had no parents in Korea. So I was sort of labeled as this kid that was like nobody's kid, which is like a very negative stigma, right? So nobody cared for me. So I went, and this must have been like freaking kindergarten or first grade, right?
Yeah.
I arrived to school with no check, like no books.
Uh-huh.
And in Korea, they have like subject matter each, so it's like thin. I mean, it's not, it's paperbacks, but there's like 5 or 6 courses, math,
Sure.
English, and it all have the books. So one day I didn't bring any of them, and my teacher brought me up to the front of the class. 너 이리 와. Come over here. And he had a stack of books. He goes, 아무것도 안 가졌어? Which was like, yeah, I didn't bring anything. He took the whole pile and slammed it down on my head.
On your head?
Yeah, in front of the whole. Of course, it's not like that in Korea now, but again, and that was acceptable.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Korean culture.
And the hitting
Oh,
with the ruler.
we literally had not even. I mean, I think there's a separate tool, like a stick that was almost like a pool stick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like they had a tool that was built to hit your hands. It's like a whip, but it's like, anyways.
That was one of the reasons why.
Did you get Mehmet at home?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, with the ruler?
Absolutely. Not with a ruler. It was with a parite, a fly swatter. the wire. It was more 따가워. It stung.
Oh, I think in a way it hurts more. Like it's 따가워. Yeah, like
Yeah.
따가워 is like stings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
And I think,
Until you were how old?
oh gosh, maybe upper elementary, middle school.
What was the thing that you remember you got?
It was like talking back to my parents.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah. Like honest mistakes, no. Like they I wouldn't get disciplined or punished for that per se. But
was when you were being
I was
rebellious.
being rebellious.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's a no-no.
Yeah. But I distinctly remember I confused when that discipline was warranted.
Huh.
So one time I had turned on, I was taking a shower and the shower head was turned toward the bathroom, not toward the wall or straight.
Okay. Yeah,
and
yeah.
so when I turned it on, I sprayed my mom. And
Oh.
I was so scared because I think she was very stressed out that day. And
Yep.
I remember being terrified. And I said, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Like, I can get meme. I can get meme. And
Wow.
she just kind of gave me this quizzical look, like, I'm not gonna spank you for that, you
Oh.
know? But that stuck with me over the
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
because,
Because you were so fearful of,
yeah.
and you
And I
applied
didn't know
it.
when, yeah, I just thought that's across the board.
Yeah.
When you do something wrong,
Yeah.
wrong includes a mistake,
Wow.
and then you could get spanked for it.
Yeah.
And so, what I've learned from raising kids is that when I'm angry or upset, they immediately think it's their fault. And they can't distinguish, or, maybe they lack that maturity to
Yeah.
distinguish whether they're being disciplined or I'm speaking in a stern way because I want to
Yeah.
correct them versus I'm a bad kid.
Right.
So I think that's brought in just a level of cautiousness when trying to intentionally discipline. Like, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of times I lose it
Yeah.
and raise my voice and get angry in the moment. But I wouldn't call that disciplining.
Yeah. I had one incident for each child where I was just having the worst day and they were having their worst day, and it collided. They were having, like, I think a meltdown, and it was just inconsolable hysteria, and I had to get somewhere. It's always like the worst when you're trying to get somewhere. And I remember I lost just, and I went crazy, and was like yelling from the top of my lungs, and I spanked them in their booty, and it wasn't hard, but the look on my kid's face, like he was betrayed, shattered my soul. Like,
Yeah.
I looked at him and I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And
Yeah.
and of course it triggered everything, like, within my own. And I said, never, never. And it wasn't even that, like, hard. That's not the point. For him, I don't even think it was about the pain. The fact that I think he thought that I was intentionally hurting him, and that betrayal, I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst parent ever.
Yeah.
And ever since that, like, internally, I'm like, you can never. I'd rather just. So now, from those lessons, my thing is, I'm a horrible disciplinarian. I'm also the one that caves all the time. I'm the good cop. Adonis, my husband, is the bad cop. But the thing that frustrates me the most is that he can just slightly change his tone. He doesn't even raise his voice, and they're like, okay, Dad. When I do it, when I'm like, yeah, they're like, Mom, what'd you say?
When I raise my voice, Ruby runs away.
Oh, no, I don't
It makes me so much angrier.
When she runs away?
Yeah. It's like, girl,
it makes you angrier?
Yes. Because she acts like I'm the scariest person in the world. Like, unreasonable.
Oh.
And it can be like,
ooh, she's being sexist towards you.
Well, no, she'll give it right back to Ben. She'll yell so to Ben, she yells. She says, you can't talk to me like that.
So wait, then what is it? But with you, when you yell.
I start, she runs away like, and she runs to the other corner of the house.
That TikTok song.
Yeah.
The fact that you know which sound I'm talking about.
So it's like with her dad, she turns, her fight or flight turns into straight fight. With me, it's all
fascinating.
Flight.
Why do you think that is?
I have no idea, but she's very, very big on tone.
Oh.
And I have to, like, leave the room and just breathe
Wow.
in order for it to not
Is
escalate into
is she a
like
daddy's girl?
raised voice. No, she's a
not.
mommy's girl.
She's a mommy's girl.
She's a mommy's girl. But
That's why, right? I mean,
maybe she
Yeah.
feels betrayed by
Yeah.
me because for me it's all in the tone.
yeah,
And-
you have a tone. No,
So
but
I've been told by my husband.
yeah, you have a tone. Oh, I can see that.
Yeah, so Ruby's thing is always talk to me nice. Yeah, talk to me nicely. But they recently had a play date, and I said, we agreed. I said, okay, I'll pick you up after an hour, in an
Okay.
hour. And they were just going to their friend's house, their neighbor's house. And they walked there themselves. And so I said, when I show up, then we got to leave, because that's an hour. But we ended up staying there for almost an hour longer.
Oh,
And this was
okay.
after repeated
Begging.
yeah, let's
Like,
go,
can
guys.
we stay a little
yeah,
longer?
let's wrap it
Yep,
up.
yep.
Let's wrap it up.
Always
you know,
happens,
I
yep.
gotta work on dinner. They need to work on dinner. Come on, let's go. And I'm trying to like be nice and make small talk and chat with the other kids'
Yeah.
parents too, right? And both my kids and their kids are having a hard time wrapping it up.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I'm feeling myself reaching a limit, and my
Oh,
blood
yeah.
starting to, my heartbeat starting to race faster. And we finally said our goodbyes and we're walking home. The kids are like, la-di-da, like, that was so much
totally
fun. That was
oblivious.
so much fun.
Have the time of our lives.
Completely
Yeah.
oblivious. I feel myself just getting there.
Yeah.
And
Uh-oh,
under my
somebody-
breath, I made sure we were far enough that they
Yeah.
couldn't hear my voice reverberating.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what, guys, that was not good. That was not good. I said our agreement was 1 hour. Okay, it was 1 hour, and like I waited for you at least 40 minutes. Remember how I said
Yeah.
when I show up, it's time to wrap it up. And so, I came home and I was thinking, like, how am I gonna like discipline or because I want to 소리 질러 and
Yeah.
like yell and
Yeah.
really scold them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's gonna make them scared, and
Right.
I don't want them
That's
to.
not the point.
Yeah,
Right.
because I'm not scary.
When you
I'm trying to
said-
say, hey, you broke kind
Yeah,
of
or-
the
yeah.
agreement. Yeah.
Wait, when you said that, did the kids pick up on it?
Yes.
So how did they
Immediately.
react?
So my 9-year-old can pick up the nuances, and he
Yeah.
immediately was like, oh, and realized that
Yeah.
that was a little bit too much.
Yeah.
My 7-year-old just thinks it's like an injustice.
Right, I
And
can
I
see
said,
Ru-
I know
Ruby
you guys.
thinking that.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
in order to speak her language, I'm
Yeah,
like, hey, you
yes.
always ask me to be nice, mommy. But when I was being nice, mommy, you don't
Right.
listen.
So then
You
how
don't
did you do
listen.
Yeah, I'm curious. How did you handle that?
I mean, I did need an assist from Ben too, because he was getting started on dinner when we came. He's like, "Hey guys," and he sees my face. He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, what happened?"
Yeah.
I'm like, well, it took me like 40 minutes to
Yeah.
bring them home, and it should have been just a 5-minute walk and then back.
Right.
And he's like, "Oh, that's not good." And then sometimes when you get your partner on it,
Yeah.
they kind of take it to the next level.
Right.
And I'm like,
I totally, Adonis will be like,
Rein it
huh?
in. Yeah.
What is happening here? I'm like,
And
oh
my dad
God.
used to do that too.
Oh, that's
because
so
he's like,
annoying.
why did you make Oma mad, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
like,
then that's inconvenient for him.
Yeah, like, how dare you
Oh.
make mom? I'm like, okay,
And it's
now
like,
you're making
I have
it.
the final word. And even as a kid, I knew like you weren't in on this.
Yeah.
This is between us
It
and
annoys
mom,
me. I was like, I
okay?
had it.
Yeah.
And then they're crying, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? Like, I
Yeah.
had it under control.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is so.
But I mean, this time Ben was like, "Yeah, you know what? You guys can't have play dates if you do that."
So you talked about it.
we talked about it. Gosh, what else is there than a lecture?
Right.
If you can't, if I don't want to spank or do the physical thing because I don't trust myself to have the restraint.
Yeah.
I'll give it to my mom that she had a lot of restraint,
Oh,
but
that's
I
my
don't trust
guilt.
myself for that.
I don't have restraint. Yeah. Once I get going,
Yeah.
I unleash. Like I vomit at the mouth.
Yes. So then, yeah, it's hard to kind of, I guess, lecture without exasperating
Yeah.
them. So
I heard this thing again on TikTok.
Mm.
I'm probably also getting it wrong, but it was something like every negative thing that you say has like, I don't know, I can't remember the math on it, but like has
a lifelong impact.
yeah. Whereas no, something like if you, and every five, oh no, the advice was like for every one negative thing you say, you should say 5 other positive things.
Oh, yeah.
Something like, and that positive reinforcements do way more to help with whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
I can't. I should pay better attention to all this stuff. But ultimately, nobody should be asking me for advice. I'm a terrible parent.
It's a work in progress.
I'm
Every
a terrible
day.
parent.
No, you are not. You're absolutely
I cave.
not.
I cave.
Yeah.
I'm such a pushover.
It's hard, and it's the push-pull.
Yeah.
I think as Korean Americans and children of immigrants, we're trying to learn that.
Yeah.
Is that we'll do life
Yeah.
for weeks and months and
Yeah.
realize you guys are acting just a little bit spoiled and entitled,
Right.
and then we'll bring it in.
So
It's hard to have the needle here. In the
the
middle.
balance.
Yeah.
The balance. I will say I do take away things like no more video games for the day.
Yeah.
Like so if they're acting spoiled, that's usually a trigger. Like they're like, oh, they start to act entitled. That I'm like, okay. I think, and sometimes when they play video games, they're just like little zombies.
Yeah, I mean their brain chemistry.
Yeah.
They don't have control.
Yeah.
So you have to control.
So I say
that.
no video games. So
Yeah.
that's usually like the punishment. But my Adonis says that I'm a passive aggressive parent, and I don't mean to be. I don't
think
mean
I
to
might
be.
be too.
Yeah, they'll be like, "Mom, can I do this?" I'm like, "But didn't you play 30 minutes?"
Uh-huh.
Like, yeah, but all right. If that's how you want to spend your whole day, even though we talked about this, okay, fine, I won't do it then, Mom. Okay. It's not
Instead
healthy.
of just saying, I don't think so.
I should have
because-
been. Adonis is like always like, you should just be. I don't mean to be
Direct.
that way.
I know, but-
I think it's because I want them to think about it on
Sure.
their own.
Yeah.
And be like, why, So
I think that's very important. So
yeah. I think that I'm nudging them to like think about it, but
Yeah.
he says it's passive
I
aggressive.
can see it in both. I can see it in that way. I also see your intention that
Yeah.
you do want them, because I don't want them to. First of all, I don't think they fear us in the way that we maybe fear.
Thank God.
our
And that
kids,
in
our
itself
parents.
is an improvement.
Yes.
And so that's a win. We're going to take that win. And also, ultimately, I just don't want them to be assholes. Like, as long
Absolutely.
as, thankfully, I do see kindness in our children. And I see it in yours too. So somehow we're doing okay.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah. You know what? One thing that's been that I've been doing a lot of, that's very hard for me, is saying sorry to them.
Oh my gosh. I say sorry all the
And
time.
I hate doing it.
Really?
But
That's a good one, actually. I am very proactive.
yeah.
Sometimes, and my kids will call me out. My kids will be like, Sawyer will be like, oh, can I have cereal like right now before dinner? I told you I'm making dinner right now. Okay, why did you have to yell at me like that? I was just asking a question. And then I'll be like, oh my God, you're right. I am sorry. You were just asking. I did not need to raise my voice, so I am sorry. Although sometimes I roll my eyes, and I shouldn't do that either, but I will apologize.
Yeah.
I will let them feel validated. I don't mind doing it if I genuinely feel bad.
Right.
But
Right.
that's something our parents never did.
No.
So that we're...
My mom did.
Oh.
It usually came at the end of a very long lecture. Or beginning and then long lecture.
Yeah.
My dad never did. And I think I get a lot of my internal
Yeah, you're
fire
like your dad.
from him.
Yeah.
So I guess that's something that is an improvement, and I'm improving on.
I will say
discipline
this.
it's
Yeah. There's no right answer.
No.
There's no, I think we're always looking, but ultimately it's about finding the balance. And I think trusting yourself that you have a connection with your child and how you get through to them, I think you know. But, you know, obviously don't use violence. That's one advice I can give you.
Solid advice.
Don't tear them down, because
verbal.
that's not going to help them as to mature into a confident, you know, healthy adult. But otherwise, we're all just trying to do the best that we can. I think withholding things, but
I think of it as you're creating boundaries.
Yes,
or
boundaries
you're
are
holding boundaries
important.
because kids don't always know that.
Yeah,
So
there's
it's
like
things
science, right?
Yeah.
Kids have no sense of boundaries, so it's like they're gonna go to the furthest, you know, part that they're gonna go, and you have to put the gates up and say, no, this is.
And that takes work because it's not fun having to do that because you have to stay consistent. And that's something that I'm not always consistent.
Consistency.
Yes.
I'm so bad. That's where I struggle. Consistency.
Yeah. But discipline is a discipline for sure.
And teaching.
Yes.
Go in the ways of teaching. That for me is such a pivotal lesson I got from you today. That if discipline is,
we think of it as
punitive punishment, but reframe and think of it as teaching. We're deep, Jay. Go forth with this knowledge, y'all.
But we'd love to hear from you guys about how you handle the disciplining. I think
Love
it's very
this
hard.
question.
Yeah. I mean, we're living in the age of the gentle parenting, conscious parenting, and we have to find like what is true for us in that.
Yes.
You know, I very much believe in many parts of that, and then I also think, okay, my role as a parent, I need to hold some boundaries for them. And I mean, all of that, I think it's always a learning experience. I think it's helpful to be in community and have community. And us talking like this and knowing that you're not crazy. You're not crazy when you lose it.
And
we
it's
all do.
a struggle. It's hard. It's not easy. And we're all, show yourself some grace. We're all doing the best that we can.
Yep. Show yourself grace and show your kids grace.
That's why Korean parents name their daughters Grace.
Grace Lee.
Bye.